Welcome back, everyone. After a short break, we're now ready to jump back into map number 2 between Sonics and Space Station Gaming. Already, Space Station 7-1. James, 7-1. Were we expecting that?
Not quite. This was, obviously, Cafe was Sonics' map pick, so I wasn't quite expecting it to be so dominant there, and SSG just completely wiped off the floor with them after dropping that initial round. But we're going to head into Border. It's going to be our second map. This is Space Station's map pick. So Sonics will get to pick sides, and they've opted to go to defense first. Sonics will ban out the Book. That's not the first time we've seen Sonics ban out Book.
I really don't get the ban for Buck. James, you know I absolutely despise it. There is other operators there which make a ton more sense to get rid of. I see Capitao still on the board for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, we'll see Nomad getting banned off the board. So these are looking like pretty similar bans to what we saw Space Station and Sonics do the last time they played against each other, which was, of course, in Pro League. Well, we should see, we're going to see the Mirror ban come out from Space Station, so you should see the Echo ban come out from Sonics. But I mean, this is up to Sonics now to see what they want to do in terms of bans, because they were the ones who banned out Mirror last time they played against each other. It looks like they will ban out the Echo. So, pretty standard stuff, and the exact same bans that happened in the last game that Space Station played against them.
Well, I would say the defense is pretty standard. Definitely not for the attack. All hard breachers available. Sometimes we've seen like a Firma or Habana ban on Border before. The fact that Capitao is still up really surprises me. And if he isn't picked every single round, I don't know why he wouldn't be. The fact that he can bring the smokes that some teams really need, and I feel as if SSG are one of those teams that need to bring smokes to help them with their really long and methodical setups and then finally put the pressure onto the bomb site. And plus, those fire arrows, on Border, you look at the half wall in towards armor, you look at the half wall inside of office, you look at towards ventilation, being able to Capitao off inside of bathroom. So many areas he is so useful for, and I'm glad to see that SSG have realized, oh, they've gave us this, we're going to use that to our full extent.
We'll see Gomfy 6 picking off of the warning and going onto the Valkyrie, which actually baited Bosco to bring the Zofia rather than the IQ. So no IQ available here for Space Station here as they move on to their very first attack here on Border. Now, last play day, Sonics were not having a good time on Border against Rogue. I would argue that Rogue is a bit of a better team on Border than Space Station is, historically. But, yeah, I really don't know what to call this, because now both times that SSG and Sonics are playing each other before, they've always gone to Border against each other. I've never seen these teams go against each other in any other map. So, well, that's unfortunate.
Oh, we're going to come back to us. There we go. So, we haven't really seen anything apart from the bans and the first bomb site pick for Sonics. Can we really look at it and think about the Sonics push just off the 5 operators, I'm guessing? What's happening? We're not coming back to us. We're just going to watch this play out. Oh, Slabin, triple kill from him. What a guy.
It's all down to Neptunes between Slabin. Slabin just destroys him! Oh, what a great pick from Slabin.
Unbelievable.
Clearly, now the best player from Sonics.
Superpower player. Guarantee won't do that the next round against SSG.
You never know. It's good practice.
Don't think it, James. You can see the outlines. Not fair.
That is true. That is true. Some players don't play with outlines on, though.
Those people who don't play with outlines on, I really question it, because we have seen people TK because they don't have them on.
Yeah, I mean, I remember talking to Gomfy about this when he initially joined ENTS, and that Wilkie had told him to put outlines on because it helps with better team coordination. But like, there's some opportunities where like the outline, they go up against each other, and you can't, like, if like the outline of your teammate goes across where the opponent is, then it's kind of hard to see your opponent, if you get what I mean. Like, and Gomfy was having issues with that, and he didn't want to put outlines on because of that. So I have no idea if Gomfy does play with outlines now, or if he doesn't. So
Gomfy, let us know. Let us know. James wants to know. He's intrigued.
I would be intrigued, yeah.
He is intrigued. But we look at Border. We look at the bans, more importantly. SSG going for the Nomad ban. So that lets us know that they're still going to try and keep up that same aggressive nature, I would say, that we already seen from Cafe, the quick jump outs from windows, being able to utilize a very heavy roam game setup, I'm sure, as well. And you kind of need to do that for Border, don't you? And then Buck ban. Really strange for Sonics. They have gave SSG the Capitao.
To just say how crisp and clear these AOC monitors are. Just been so good, just looking at them and being able to like see what's going on.
Well, James, where can I get one of these AOC monitors?
Well, you can just shop online, and I think it's AOC Gaming.
AOC Gaming, of course, sponsoring us with these great monitors that I'm sure all the players will be happy enough to play with whenever if they eventually do get to the LAN. Was that your plug then? Yeah?
Yeah, that was mine.
Don't worry, chat. I've got some plugs coming up as well, so I'll show you how it's really done. James, you stick to the commentary. I'll deal with the fun stuff.
That was a good one.
I'll give you honestly, I wasn't expecting that from you, so I'm glad to see that. But still, let's get back to the Buck ban. I'm not letting you away with this. Why is the Buck being banned?
I don't like. We talked about it last time we saw a Buck ban here. It's kind of like there's a lot of factors to that. Obviously, like it denies a lot of the vertical play coming through. It makes less sense here. I remember we saw a Buck ban on Coastline, and we've seen that from eGang, which was Sonic's in Season 8.
Yep.
We've seen that from them on Coastline before. So we know that this team can play around a Buck ban very well. And they're familiar with that kind of attitude. I think it's just like mainly because if you think between the difference between Buck and any of the soft bans, it's like the vertical play from downstairs is harder to breach. But we'll go back into the game. It's going to be Border, our very first round, of course, and everything is squared away nicely. And you have to go to the same operators and the same lineup and the same site. We'll see how things go down.
Is SSG allowed to bring the IQ now? What's the rules on that? No?
Yeah, they have to bring the same operators.
Because the whole point of like the Valkyrie being sick pick, because then the IQ wasn't there. So, okay.
There we go. They're forced to do the sixth pick.
Yep.
Even though that Bosco's aware he just got baited into that sixth pick.
Yeah. Unlucky. So I was thinking, don't they have to kind of do that? Or else that would be a little bit of cheating, wouldn't it, James? We don't like cheaters, do we? No. Cheaters never prosper, especially in Siege.
Well, we'll see.
Sometimes in Siege.
Nah, let's not get into that discussion. We'll see an Armory Lockers and Archives defense coming through. Of course, for Sonics, and pretty standard lineup from them so far. I'm going to guess that Neptunes are going to hold this office area onto that break room door. We saw that a few times yesterday.
Yeah, the kind of long angle that you can play with the MP5. We know how great that gun can be, just to tap heads. Yep. One of the better kind of arsenal defender guns you can have. To be fair, like if you were to rank some of like... Right, how's this, James? Rank the top 5 defender guns, in your opinion.
Doc's MP5.
For being number 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then Rook's MP5.
Right, you've already lost me.
Alda.
Already lost me.
Really?
I would go Alda 416. SMG 11.
Oh yeah, that's true. SMG 11.
SMG 11's there, has to be.
Yeah.
I would probably say MX4 Storm and MP10 Roni. That would be my 5.
I don't like Roni.
No?
No. That max size. Awkward. Well, we'll see how things go down.
I'm a Citizen fan, so whatever he says is liquid gold.
Okay,
how can you not?
Well, you should have said the M762 then. From you know. Well, we'll see how things are going to be going now as we move into round number 1. And we'll have a look what they want to do. So, like, the big advantage of the Buck ban here means that you don't need to play really heavily downstairs. That you can easily rotate a blade.
Did you catch that?
Yeah.
Did you see that? Slevin's just lying on the hatch and he just shot beneath
sends him down.
Away he goes. Start roaming. Which is what we want to see from Sonics, though. We don't want to see them allow SSG to have this safe setup. So they're gearing up to try and hold half wall. But that's not going to work, James, whenever Capitão's there. It'll just be a very easy fire arrow from Faults, be able to drone out, see the deployable shield, and, well, since they do have the Sophia, they can easily burn that away out as well. So this really isn't going to work out for Sonics. They need to try and look for another approach.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, Sonics still have a pretty solid hold going on. And we still have the roam game coming out from Government Feet and Slevin below. I think this roam game is more about less about denying that area and more about just being able to play around the C4. So like Gomfi has the C4 and Slevin's kind of escorting him around the map as well. You'll see Gomfi already moving onto East Stairs, however, and looking for this run out as well onto CC to see what he can do here, but there's going to be no one there as they've already got control of CC already. Gomfi looking for another run out. It looks like he's barely missing these people right now. This is not good, and they're going to give away his position as well. They're going to know exactly where he is. Complete CC control now going in for Space Station right now. They've got a lot of time left, but Canadian will find Goddess. That's the first pick of the round going into Space Station's favor.
Expected from SSG with these very dedicated and long-term pushes that they try and establish. And still for SSG, I like the fact that since they have that man advantage, they can leave Rampy downstairs to make sure Gomfi doesn't have an impact with the C4. He can't really do anything if someone's holding them. So I do like the setup now for SSG, and even allowing somebody to sit in break room for hard flank coverage. It makes a ton of sense. Not having the Nomad means they do have to dedicate themselves. Vaults is pushed on in and eliminated super, and here comes the clear out from SSG. Oh, that gunfight downstairs doesn't work. We thought it was going to, and SSG, they start things off great. A flawless round for them, and James, I feel as if this is the beginning of the end.
I think things were actually looking good for Sonics there at the start because they still had that roam game on the board, and I think Gomfi, if you could be able to do something early with that C4 from below onto like maybe CC, or if he had a bit of better info on the run out onto CC as well, just outside on that east stairs run out. If Gomfi had found a kill at any point in his kind of early roam game in the first 2 minutes, I think that round would have gone very, very, very differently. But SSG, again, like we talked about all the time, you're not aggressive against the team and you don't take their utility off the table. Pro teams, especially Space Station, will just bring it all to bear down on you, and we can expect flawless rounds with them. It's that third flawless round now in this series.
See how they go now. Try and push on in. And Sonics, we really have to look at them and think, can they put up a fight? Can they beat SSG and Border, where the way that SSG are playing it, I would say is very atypical of what we expect from teams in this map specifically. I think back to even yesterday, whenever we seen Border being played in our LATAM matches. It was a much more kind of very loose and flexible. The attacks didn't really commit to one side. They just kind of floated around and see what they could get from it. SSG, they have the game plan in their heads. They know exactly what they're going to go for, and that is why this map is so basic and so simple, and that's why I feel the attackers have a lot of things going for them, because it is, you look at it, all they take is security, they have somebody downstairs for C4s, and they just use the utility that's available to them, and it's an easy frag fest. It's so easy.
The last time that Space Station went here against Sonics, they only won 2 attacks, which is kind of interesting to look at, but things already looking pretty good for Space Station here. Let's see how things can continue to go down. I think one thing that Space Station does struggle with is very, very aggressive teams, and to a certain extent, we saw it against the Mexican team.
Yes, yeah, there was just one guy literally running around the map.
Like, Atheris was able to put like a lot of bodies on the map here, like, and
it's because SSG couldn't really read them, though. If you think about it, these teams have faced off against each other before. Sonics, they should be reading into SSG a lot better. And honestly, I think Sonics, they're just playing into the hands of SSG. SSG know how Sonics play. They can be very loose and flexible. They're great on their retake strategies as well with bomb sites, and they like to play heavy from below. And if SSG can neutralize that fact, then they have really no issues.
Well, we're already seeing the work being done by SSG. They took the Valkyrie camera offline on Easters. Sonic still holding on very, very well for themselves. However, we've still got Gomfi and Slubin on the roam downstairs. So the same strategy coming out from both Sonics and Space Station here so far. I think this is really all down to how successful the Gomfi Slubin roam game can be.
It is a lot of pressure, I think. As soon as these two players came in, there was big question marks above their heads. You know, for the first ever international transfer, it was the bottom place Pro League team to do it. You wouldn't really expect that. We were more expecting the big highlight teams like, you know, G2 or Evil Geniuses to go for those kind of plays. But no, it was in fact Sonics. And well, Gomfi and Sleb, and we've seen the impact that they've already had. They actually gave Sonics a little bit of burst of life. But not in this game. They really haven't got going. Look at Cafe. They were non-existent. They just weren't here to play. Oh. They're super. Nice C4 toss. And Bosco, I think he thought he could try and dodge it, but no. Just barely misses out on it. And super. Takes a lot of damage. Has to back up away now from his deployable shield.
Yes, to back up away indeed. Flashbangs are going to go down deep into box and see what they can do right now. As Gomfi is going to rotate all the way to top metal, and Slebin waiting for someone to try and push that front door, because Rampy still outside there, along with Fultz on the Capitao to try and push in, but Slebin does see one, goes to the pre-fire, gonna give his position away. Only 50 seconds left to go on the clock, and SSG gotta be very aware of the roamers downstairs. They do have that Jackal on the board, however, from Rampy, as Super goes for a wide peek and gets punished for it instantly. Thinking Nate takes him down, and now already we're in a 4v3.
Great cover from SSG, working in twos, working in pairs. There's the firebolts. Forces got us all the way back, and now she has to clutch it with the LMG. Pushes in through Sandwich, and that's an easy pickup from Fultz once more. That Capitao is the crutch. That SSG are relying on every single time. And well, for Sonics, if they eliminate that operator specifically, I think they have a lot better chance of relying on Goddess. We know what she's like with that LMG. She can pull out a clutch out of nowhere. But whenever she is forced away out of her comfort zone, using the fire, it's so tough. It really is. So Capitao, if they lose this, I feel it is because they didn't ban it. That's the operator. It really is. The strongest operator, I feel, on this map.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, just at the end there, like, Fultz was doing such a great job, like, both of those firebolts landed directly on top of opposing operators coming out from Sonic. So like really good work from Fultz there. Like SSG seems to have like really good early game journey to know exactly what the setup is and how Sonics are going to be playing it. Indeed, SSG doing very, very well for themselves. They find 2 attacks on the board. Let's have a look at how, if they are able to find 1 more, they'll definitely be doing better than the last time they went into the border against Sonics. We'll see the Rook pick going to be picked up by NEPTUNES here, as the Zofia comes out from Space Station.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
Double French now for Sonics. Is this the thing that they need to save them?
You're a big fan of the double French.
I am a double French, but now you're lacking the C4 potential. Now we know how crucial denial can be.
But was that C4 really doing anything for them?
Well, they tried to play their C4s from below, but SSG had that unlocked. The only C4 kill that we've seen was from Super, who was actually on the bomb site. You know, it's...
Yeah.
Whenever SSG take quite a while to get things set up, a very slow team, the more utility that you can have in your back pocket, the better. Lack of smoke as well, which has been very surprising.
Yeah, there's been absolutely no smoke coming out from
That's a big thing that we've kind of like let them go with. But whenever you look at the way SSG are playing, they're not playing fast. They're very slow. And you think of teams, well, pretty much every European team, beside the Russians, they're very slow and methodical in how they kind of carry out their pushes. This is where I see comparison with SSG. Definitely not the expected NA kind of playstyle, which I like to see that they're changing things up, and it works for them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like a more aggressive kind of hold coming out from Space Station here. From
SSG are just training the NA teams to beat EU teams.
Yeah,
they're trying to get them used to the strategy.
Space Station do have that very, I mean, I wouldn't say complete EU, because we see a decent amount of different EU teams now coming out, but yeah, I would definitely say there's a bit of stuff here. But Space Station are going to go for this Archive stake all of a sudden instead, and we'll see Smoke's already going to go down. NEPTUNES finds one with a knife and another one! Oh my god, NEPTUNES just runs through the smoke, pulls a 2v2k out, and Bosco and Thinking Nade will put him down, however, and find other kills. Got us with a really nice long angle. We'll find, however, Thinking Nade, and this Space Station rotate is not looking good at all. Now find themselves in a 2v3. Jackal Trucks are going to come out. They've still got loads of time to recover this round, however. How did NEPTUNES get away with that?
Just lackluster cover from Fultz. Let him run right past and stab Canadian. Again, plenty of time. 2v3s, clutchable. But whenever they don't have a lot of utility to kind of play off, it can be tricky. Another Jackal track comes in, so they know that the man they're hunting for is in towards Office, and that's who Bosco is trying to fight against. But now you can see Sonics creeping in together, working as twos, and that's what we expect from them. Whenever you have that man advantage, make sure you can have those 1v2s, make sure you get them.
Oh, but there goes Rampy, unfortunate, through the vertical play. Gonfi is going to take him off the board. It's all down to Bosco to try and bring this in. 1v3, still got plenty of time, but no utility available for him. He's going to rotate onto the east stairs instead to see what he can do. That triple wall fully reinforced, of course. Even if he did have utility, he wouldn't have a way in through there. Trying to slowly creep down red hole now to see what he can do, but no, Gonfi will shut him down. And it's going to be Sonic, so you take round number 3.
So the attempted quick concrete plant did not work for SSG. Simply down to Fultz, missing his man, not doing his job, and it just all fell apart from there.
How does NEPTUNES do that, man? That's insane.
It is. I kind of question SSG. Whenever those past 2 rounds, they only lost one guy. There's only one kill that Sonics had within 2 rounds. Why didn't they just keep sticking with the standard security? You know, go with what you know works.
Well, finally they will see an Armory Lockers and Archives defense win, and we'll see Events Room and Workshop take instead coming out from Sonics. Very, very different lineup coming out from them, and the castle should give away, and the fact that it is, of course, the second site that we normally do see, that it is going to be instead a Events Room and Workshop defense. SSG should be aware of this. This, I think, could turn around quickly for Sonics, though, however. Like, they've regained the momentum now. A bit of a different strategy. They will bring in the win. We'll see how round number 4 gets underway, however. We'll see exactly what wants to go down. I think the reason they went for that concrete plant is because there was, like, no holes open below. There was no C4s coming out from Sonics. There's, like, no plant denial at all. So it should be very, very easy to go for that smoke. Very, very quick plant. But yeah, you are right. No flame arrows coming down, allowed NEPTUNES to get away with a very nice play to be able to shut down that plant. We'll see how things go down for Space Station now and see if they can do a little bit better.
Upstairs hold for Sonics, expected for the vents. You have to hold this bomb site as if you're holding the armory. And you may be thinking, oh, but if they try and play too many players upstairs, you could be prone to perhaps a quick rush in from the enemy team. You don't have enough players to try and take the fight on site. Oh, the vertical holes that are being made will assist Sonics in walking down the bomb site. You can't plant above a hole because somebody could just be at the other side of that and takes an easy frag onto you. So it's all the pressure that SSG now, they have to take upstairs. They have to try and clear top floor. And plus anyway, for most teams, whenever you're attacking a downstairs site, you generally want to take upstairs because then you yourself and your team can gain that vertical control. You can gain that advantage you have. And it basically forces all the anchors to play off-site, and then it's easy pickings really for the attackers.
This time we're going to see Sleben instead of Super up on the Bandit, and we'll see what he can do with all of this. See, again, the roaming duo of Sleben and Gumpy coming out. They've done decent work in the past as this kind of roaming duo together.
Yeah, we know the history of both these teams. Of course, dating back to Sisu, where they were a team and then left, and Sisu had to get their 2 new players in. And they've moved to NA. First big transfer for them. A lot of pressure on their shoulders, and they haven't been playing as great as what we would expected this series so far, and the failed bandit trick didn't work for Sonic. Sleben now has to back all the way up, and no Capitao this time, though, from SSG, which is surprising. So perhaps half-wall could be like a really nice position for somebody from Sonics to play. And Gumpy actually looking for the aggressive play, but it's Sleben who goes for it first. Does pick off Thinking Aid, but Fultz is still there with the cover.
How did they get away with this? Sonics are just putting bodies on the board. That stature already off the board. Not a massive utility bit because the tension wall and armory wall are already open. But still a pick nonetheless. We'll see how things do start to go down. Passport wall is getting opened up. We've got a tension wall open as well. Ramp going to throw out a nade. That's going to be the peak coming out. And he wins the fight. What was that? Goddess. Oh, beautiful pick from her.
Refrag, though, from Bosco, still keeping up that level pegging field. So free in terms of man count. But for Sonics, they have a bit of denial. They still have Neptunes who can try and assist with the Evil Eyes and gain the information and perhaps some denial. But more importantly, the C4 from Super, very vital for them to keep hold of that. And whenever the timer is slowly but surely ticking down, more pressure mounts on the back of SSG. Looking to entry in towards A, as that's where the drones will lead us to, and the fact that Bosco now rotating over towards Tellers. So it will be a backside A take, but there is this upstairs pressure from Sonics. This should just be an easy round for them.
It should be an easy round, but we'll see smokes are going to go down deep into the site. Space Station still looking good for their execute right now, but not a lot of time left remaining. As Gumpy finds one onto Canadian, and Fultz is fighting between a rock and a hard blade. Super will take him down, and it's all down to Bosco in a 1v3 to try and bring this in. We'll try and go for the plant in the back of Workshop here, but no, we'll get fragged out, and Sonics will take it into the defense.
That just shows the importance of being able to take upstairs. You cannot allow the defenders to have this vertical game, because it's so easy for them to pick you apart, just piece by piece. So now, Sonics, you've got 2 rounds back, but you have to go for your third bomb site. You have the choice between Bathroom and Tellers or Customs, both bomb sites. It's really a matter of fact, James, is would you like to keep your left leg or your right leg?
I mean, to me, it's always kind of depend on bans. With no mirror available, I think this is the better site. But I guess we'll have a look what SQ want to do here indeed. This has definitely been a much closer map, though, and kind of expected this to be a much closer map. It's kind of surprising that SSG would want to take us here, given the fact that this has been a very back and forth in the past for SSG between Sonics.
Still potential for SSG to take a 4-2 split. That's still up in the air now. Of course, it's back and forth, but since this third bomb site comes in, this really will define how Sonics are going to take their half for their next 2 rounds. If they lose this one, then I think we could be on for potential 3-3 split, but then even at that stage, I still favor SSG to win the armory attack again. And if Sonics, if they do win this, I think that they could really spur on for perhaps their own 4-2 split. So it is still very up in the air as it goes. Frost being brought in. Operator we don't see all too often. She's a trap operator and can be a bit of a surprise for some unsuspecting attackers if you don't know where she's placed the Frost match, or even if you don't know if she's there. That's the thing, you know, if you never really expect this operator because she isn't in the meta. And it is probably one of the worst feelings is to jump in and you look at the Frost bat and you're like, oh no, it's happened to me.
Also a good thing here that Frosters bring is the deployable shield. and of course that's going to be able to do a decent amount of stuff there. We talked a lot about it yesterday, with like Warden being brought in as well with the deployable shield. So I think the deployable shield, like with the new one as well, like
it's
so
a mini mirror
good.
window, isn't
yeah,
it?
And
So you
good.
mentioned that mirror on those bombs like can be great as well.
Yeah.
And those shields do act kinda like the way she does, but they can easily be destroyed compared to the mirror window. Looking at SSG, still not bringing the capital. Just completely sacked that off in favor of the Jackal, so perhaps fearing the roam game that Sonics have also managed to try and put up against them. And it does make sense if they're struggling on that side of the field, and it could assist them. They're still bringing the smokes at the end of the day, which we know is something that SSG need to have, in my opinion. And it will be a full east side clear out, so east stairs into office, and more than likely will try and eliminate the guys in Armory first.
Well, we'll have a look what Space Station want to do in terms of clear. About a minute into the round, and we still see Sonics doing a little bit of reconstruction work, but Fultz will track out one. And we've seen a decent roam clear coming out from Space Station in the past, but Slevin already going to be very, very lit up.
Just hunting. SSG hungry for the fight.
Ooh.
Neptunes, though, strikes first, but there's the refrag. That's one thing SSG have been great at, is keeping that man count as level as they can in the opening engagements. So SSG, they've lost their Ash. Could have been a whole lot worse. Just she's there to take those first opening engagements. There's a pullback. Fultz appears out of nowhere. That C7E lands the shots. Now a 2v4 in Sonics. Not in the greatest shapes.
Down to Goddess and Gomfy to try and bring this in, as Gomfy gonna slowly crouch walk up. Mettling does find one. Fultz goes down, tries to go for the pre-fire, but doesn't find another one just yet. Takes out the drone and returns all the way back down to site. Meanwhile, Goddess still alone in CC to try and make something happen. Will go for the jump out. There goes Bosco, and it's a 2v2. Tries to find another one, but gets raided out. Space Station keeping it even so far. Moved it into a 2v1 as Gomfy. Very, very low HP, but he's still up on the board with 1 minute left to go on the clock.
They had to make some plays, and Goddess, well, she made them, but still Gomfy has to clutch this off. Not a lot of HP. Down to 25, thinking it also. A little bit cautious with his health advantage. Canadian, full HP. 45 seconds, you would expect this is enough time for SSG to do their thing, get a potential drone in. They will open up in towards reception, and Gomfy gives himself another angle to pair around with. Still that Maestro camera up, though, and that can feed information to him, and you're kind of expecting SSG to plant default. There needs to be some great cover coming in from Finkinade. Canadian just teetering on the edge. If he wants to push in, just hunting for it. Now the drone, this is what we expected. They have to try and find where he is, and I'm sure that he will be spotted out. Hunting everywhere in the bomb site, but have actually missed the vents. Time now ticking away. Gomfy just has to sit tight. They push on in, he misses the shots. No, he doesn't, he lands that! But the cover from Finkinade is even better than the long angles from Gomfy. And oh my, again, SSG, their cover, working in these pairs, have been phenomenal this series.
Things looking great for Space Station here as they take another round on their attack, and already doing significantly better than they did against Sonics during the Pro League season. So, we'll see how round number 6 gets underway. What's going to be the final defense for Sonics, unless we do go into that OT. But they are, of course, going to be able to go back to that Armory Lockers and Archives, and again, going to be bringing along that double French. Ooh, with the Pulse making an appearance.
Capital also comes back into Fultz's lineup. Kind of expecting that they think it is going to be Armory this time, which they should be correct. Vince is locked off. I doubt that Customs will be another bomb site Sonics would go to. Ooh, out comes the Clash for the first time. So Clash is an intriguing operator pick. She is, honestly, for the most part, pretty common. Like, she's not like a very niche pick where we kind of freak out whenever we see her. We've seen her pop up time and time again, and we've kind of realized how teams want to play her is as a versatile walking mirror window. Whenever they're lacking Mira and they're lacking Echo, the only thing they're really relying on is the Maestro. They probably want a little bit more information. So instead of taking the Valkyrie, which is only going to provide stationary information, let's bring the Clash, who can kind of move in first and scout out and see how many players are outside of a breach, for example, and just assist them with the kind of control factor. That's what she is. She's riot control. That's her design.
Yeah, that's true. Like, she's a good kind of like area control as well. So we'll see how that goes down. Historically, Sonics haven't been great at playing around shields, but she's a little bit different. She's kind of like that movable mirror window, like you were saying yesterday. So we'll see how things do go down for Sonics here. I do like the Clash pick being brought here, but we'll see exactly how the execute does go down. Space Station, of course, have brought quite a lot that should be able to counter the Clash. We got the Thatcher on the board that can disable her electric effect. And we've also got Capital on the board that can easily flame her out. We've also got Zofia on the board. And of course, you remember, Zofia charges go down. her shield moves slightly out of the way, and that allows you to shoot in the legs.
Yeah, so a lot of counters for SSG, and it just depends on how well Goddess can play with that operator. Wonder if Comfy will try and utilize that factor and try and play a very aggressive dock with the MP5, can use, of course, the information that she gathers herself. But Bosco wins that fight against Sleben, who looked as if he jumped out a sandwich window in a Hail Mary attempt to at least pick off. I think he was fishing for faults, because that's where he kind of plays, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if they taken the Capital off earlier on and they lose a Jaeger for it, that's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. So, but unfortunately, Sleben is not going to be able to find anyone. He's going to go down for it, and already we find ourselves in a 5v4. Space Engine doing the exact same take as well, but this time opening up the CC hatch, making sure there's no one downstairs, and if they were, they can go for that rotate later on.
Sonic's having a lot of long angles being developed as well in towards that office, looking for the gunfights, and here's the early information that Goddess can gather, and well, there's 3 of them all stacked up outside. And sees the 4th now, but there's the first flame arrow and backs her into a corner, right back into the site. And this is where they can go ahead and open up that double breach. Oh, Super tried to go for a bandit trick, but he's been stunned. And now he just prones in the middle of the room, jumps back into half wall.
No way!
He's not dead. How is this man still alive, James?
Oh my god, there's just no way he just survived that, but he'll get put down in the dirt by the Capital Bolt, but that's the last Firebolt now available. This is going to be a bit harder to do, but oh my god, what? Goddess is going to go down, and this is all of a sudden not looking too good, but Goddess does get revived by Gomfy. Definitely doing the work here. ADS is still getting burned, and this is still looking good for Sonics, honestly, because there's been a huge amount of utility that SSG have lost.
But not a lot of control, though, really, for SSG, and whenever the man repels towards Sandwich, it means Goddess, she cannot provide that same aggressive nature. Oh, repels out of the way of Gomfy. Now the diffuser is going to be initiated. Still more people trying to float their way back in, but Fault has the cover. Now it's a 2v3 in a post-plant scenario.
Yeah, all of a sudden not looking too good at all. It's going to be Gomfy and Goddess to try and bring this in. Impacts are going to go out from the Zofia. Full still holding this long angle down, making sure they can take off anyone on the board. There goes Gomfy. It's all down to Goddess in a 1v3 to try and bring this in, but the knife comes across the face, and Space Station take the round.
Oh, a 4-2 split. And not the greatest for Sonics. Great if you're an SSG fan right now, guys. You're probably thinking, yes, my team, they're into another LAN event.
Well, they're not quite there yet. They need 3 more rounds on the board. Sonics actually had some decent attacks the last time that these guys went against each other. Sonics found 3 on the board on their attacks. Let's see if they can try and bring it in. They need 4 rounds if they want to, at least bring this into OT. But of course, Space Station do have, well, I would assume defense in OT since they get to pick sides in OT.
What would you want, defense and OT first?
I think you would.
I wouldn't. I think just border attack is way better for SSG.
Maybe in this scenario, but don't forget, they pick sides before they do op bans, right? So they might not have known there's going to be a Capital available.
Yeah, that's also true. That's also a very fair statement to make. Sonics now, they will have to muster up the courage to try and fight back SSG. And there's the man in the suit with the mustache. So we're still trending here for November. And Canadian, I wonder what he has in store for us, because Warden for me is like very lackluster. I still have yet to see this gadget actually work in a competitive play. I've never seen a Warden get a kill through the smoke. I don't think I've ever been killed by a Warden through the smoke either. To be fair, I just don't die. I'm that good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Should we look at your rank stats?
Go ahead. Go look up my R6 tab.
All right, okay.
By all means.
So, well, we'll get into round number 7. It's going to be the first attack for Sonics here. They really have to make an impression on this attack if we want to see them bring it in. I think there's hope, but it's going to be an uphill battle. This is going to be a very kind of defining round for how the series is going to play out.
It will be a big kind of tone setter to see how we kind of continue in. If Sonics pull this back, well, then we could be on for a great battle. If SSG win this one, though, it's really in their favor. 3-round gap at that stage. We know SSG are a very clinical team who can just clutch out rounds and see it out with some very heavy scoreline wins for themselves, and I feel that they could do this again. Already Cafe, 7-1. That's a pretty big scoreline.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a pretty dominant series already for Space Station. Even if by some miracle Sonics do bring this in now, I think Space Station has still done a pretty good job Coastline will be our decider, of course, if we do indeed get there. But Flashbang's already going to go out from Sonics and see if there's any ADSs on this wall. They should be able to get in. They've already got CC control.
So SSG banned the Nomad, and I'm sure that probably will help them with their aggressive nature that they kind of carried in through Cathay, but probably it is a specific site ban, because Nomad, on this particular armory, she can be very strong with holding down Sandwich Window. You can't jump out on her, because she has the air jams stationed at the window downstairs at the workshop, and then also the big massive ventilation unit upstairs. You Nomad them off, you can't really touch her, but we've already seen that window be heavily played by SSG on their attacks, and we did see Sonics try and counter it with a jump out, but somehow still that Jackal managed to dodge his away from that. So that's probably why the ban's there, is to kind of nullify Sonics going for the Sandwich Repel, and SSG are probably going to be geared up to go for that aggressive standpoint. So I like that they've kind of read into what they have looking forward to on their defensive half.
We'll have a look how this is going down. Drones will get destroyed as Fultz finds one of the Neptunes. This is not looking good for Sonics all of a sudden. The Fireball is actually going to come out very, very close to that shield to try and catch Canadian, but he's been long gone.
Yeah, why would you? Who does that? You're not going to get a kill from it, because as soon as that fire arrow hits, Canadian just walks back 2 steps and he's out of the way. So Sonics, again, just not looking too impressive. They're trying to creep their way into the bomb site, but everybody from SSG are sitting back and relying on the crossfire angles. Rampy even takes down another one, and that's a 2v5. Goddess and Slevin have all the work in the world to do, and does pick up a Canadian who pre-fires round, and still Warden, with that trend of doing absolutely nothing, comes in clutch once more. One more fire arrow being distributed in towards that bomb chassis side, and there's the flank from Rampy once more. 1v4 for Goddess. Being choked out by the Toxic Fades. Does pick off Fultz, but 3 more to find. Still creeping her way in, looking for anything. Has to plant the diffuser. Doesn't even get that close as from below. Def from below. Rampy. Triple kill.
I think he drew a bit of a smiley face there at the end as well.
That's a classic.
So we're going to be moving to round number 8, of course, and SSG, with a very strong start on their own defense, is just a couple of rounds away from booking their ticket to Croatia to join Team Liquid and MIBR. Things looking pretty good for Space Station here so far. Sonics, they really need to step this up, because if Space Station win this next round and then Sonics win just every other round somehow, maybe in OT they can bring it. It does depend if what the OT sides have gone, and in that scenario, obviously, then this is going to be a very attacker-sided map. But, you know, I guess we'll see what does happen. We do see the Valkyrie coming out from Canadian here. Instead of the Jaeger as well, like, no Jaeger.
Yeah. They do know it's not Cathay anymore, don't they?
Maybe. Should someone tell them? But, yeah, this is definitely going to be interesting to see how this does indeed play out.
No Castle, which is very weird for this bomb site specifically. We see him be featured heavily. The fact that he can lock down pretty much the entire east side of the map is very valuable for teams who like to extend in towards customs, and SSG, they're a team which like a lot of control off the entire map pretty much.
I do like the Mute Mozzie combo coming in here from Space Station, especially on this kind of map where it's pretty small, so it's going to be more effective, right? So, you know, like just denying drones, denying that info constantly coming out. Sonics also love running the strategies, so they should be pretty familiar with this as well. We'll see how this is going to go down. Sometimes we see, and I think this is kind of like an error from teams as well, like if a Mozzie drone is on an essential wall that they need to get open, or they need to drone through, see Thatchers go down to remove that Mozzie drone off the board. And I feel like that's a massive waste of utility.
SSG spreading themselves very thin, attempting to hold, what 60% of the map, nearabouts, holding armory, holding in towards customs, and of course the main bomb site. There's a lot of things you need to try and cover. It looks as if they've placed a single man in each corner off the map, and All Canadian fires on through with one, but doesn't get the other. So still a very quick early engagement, and well, Sonics, they've came out the better team, as they've also managed to find faults in the midst of that.
Things looking pretty good so far for Sonics, as they managed to find 2 opening frags and both, well, 2 C4s going off the board, but we've still got 2 more C4s coming out from Space Station, assuming we do see one from Rampy as well. Yeah, we do. Okay, so things looking really, really good so far for Sonics, as they do have that man advantage up on the board, and still have a lot of their own utility available. Even though Gomfi's dead, don't think the Zofia is too important here. We do still have that Capitao, and of course the Thermite Thatcher combo.
So SSG have to play a little bit more reserved. They're down the man advantage that they oh so dearly need to have 9 times out of 10 to give them just a very emphatic round win where they're so dominant in how many players left compared to their enemy. We've seen a couple of flawlesses already from them this series. And SSG always like to have that control, gives them that safety feature. There's a kill though from Finkinhead, I believe, and has down Super, hasn't finished him off. So a quick peek around. Has failed the Jackal, but can get revived back up. And it's still good damage, though. Minute 15 to go, and there is still this upstairs pressure by SSG. Sonic's just lurking, not really having a clear indication of where they want to go next. There's still a minute, though, so there is still time, but they can't allow this Maestro to stay up here, can they, James?
They've got all the utility available as well, but yeah, this upstairs presence coming out still from Bosco. This isn't good. Rampy finds one of the Neptunes. That's going to even out that man count. But there's still a lot of time for Sonics to try and bring this in. They got another Bosco's up here. A quick pre-fire from the vents window should be able to put him down. Let's see if they are going to go for that. We still see a very spread out defense coming out from Space Station. As you see Rampy holding down Customs and seeing what he can do from this angle, trying to deny that early control, but also trying to deny the rotate coming out from Sonics. He's got his moves in. That's the Diffuser down, and also the Thermite out of it. Rampy does take that kill for free. Looks like the refrag should start to come through sooner rather than later. Bosco getting pre-fired here, but pre-fires right back as Rampy and Bosco clean it all up for Space Station. And this is match point, series point for them.
Rampy just goes in mega hard this round. Pulls his team out of a big deficit, and another match point for SSG. And not only match point, James, it's series point. It's the ticket to go to the LAN point.
Yeah, things just looking absolutely incredible for Space Station right now. Should be a clean sweep from them coming out. They need to find one more round to book their ticket straight to Croatia for the OGA LAN finals.
There's no way they throw this, James. No way.
We say this.
No way.
Do you remember what region we're casting demo?
Oh yeah, that's very true. It's very true.
You say that.
Mm-hmm.
But this is, I mean, it could happen. I believe that Sonics can still bring this back, honestly.
Choke Station Gaming?
We'll definitely see if that is going to be the case as we go to a customs inspections and supplier room for the very first time here from Space Station. But even if they lose here, they have 3 more rounds after that to bring it in, and they've got 2 core sites available after that. So things should be looking pretty good for them. Sonics, however, could be bringing DKB for the very first time.
It's like Sonics haven't even looked menacing on their rounds at all. There's nothing that we can really say that, oh, that was really good from Sonics. For the most part, it has been very lackluster, and SSG have always been on top. They've always had that upper edge. They've only dropped 3 rounds out of what? How many rounds have we played so far? 8 plus 8? 16? Only dropping 3 rounds? You took 13 of those? That's really impressive.
Very dominant performance.
You wouldn't think this is semis, would you?
You would not. That is correct.
We weren't expecting this. Like, granted, the way that NA kind of works out with the fact that TSM already have a spot, so they didn't have to enter this competition, and Rec and Darkseer obviously gained their spot via Japan. It kind of did leave SSG the favorites out of NA, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, well, I mean, I do believe they came in as first seed, but I think that was only because we saw EG and LG come through the open qualifiers.
Yeah.
But yeah, like SSG, very good.
Yeah, on their half of the side. You know, you look at Rogue, you look at Sonics now. SSG, I feel, even before the tournament began, were always going to be the favorites.
Yeah, that is true.
And they're showing it. This is why they're the favorites. They're dominant, and Sonics, they cannot keep up with the pace that SSG are setting. So we go to the customs, and generically, again, it will be an upstairs hold. We expect this from the defense. A very heavy one. 4 players scattered around the map. There's first kill, Finkinade. He just picks up a kill. He actually peeked out of the janitor's window and has found himself a kill. That's the risk you want to go for, and that's Slab gone. That's the Jackal, and Smokes more importantly.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good right now for Space Station to hold on to. Of course, Jackal going down early on is going to make this roam clear a little bit harder for Sonics, and you are quite right as well. Smokes off the board as well, assuming that Gomfi's brought frag grenades and not Smokes. That's definitely going to make things very, very hard for Sonics to make an execute happen here. But this is the SSG with a pretty commanding control here. Stashes are going to go down, but Finkinade with a great kill, and he goes for the bandit trick as well. This man can do it all.
Oh my word, just the throw gives him power. I'm trying to still pick up some more frags, and I think this is where the door is shut. And SSG, they're locking the door behind them. Sonics have to pull out a miracle. They have to try and push their way in and still give themselves some hope. By SSG, so dominant whenever all 5 of them are alive, and still these structured setups and the positions they have, they're a tough team to crack, and I just don't think it's going to work for them. They see the repel coming in, and Fultz tries to take advantage of that, but Super locks him down. So now it's a 3v4, but with a minute to go, no foothold inside of the building at all. I don't know where they go from here, James.
Well, the only way to go is forward so far for Sonics. They need to start to get that control over the building where they can. I think they're just going to try and push through Passport, but Bosco will deny that entry as Super will go down. Alter Goddess and Neptunes now to try and bring this in a 2v4. Let's need this round to keep them in the race, but if SSG do this, and they're going to book their ticket to Croatia. We'll see how this is going to go down. Got still holding out that customs double door. Neptune's trying to make something work here onto the backside of Workshop to cut down any kind of rotates, but this is not looking good at all. These smokes constantly denying that entry, also denying the sightline as well, as Neptune's trying to make his way up. This kind of semi-permeable smoke. You should be able to see through it just a little bit, and Neptune's going to go for the pre-fires, but there's still so much holding coming out from Space Station. 15 seconds left to go on the clock as Neptune's tries to make his way through, but no, from the bottom, Metal will get penetrated by Canadian, and now it's all down to Goddess and a 1v4 to try and bring this in. Still has 3 flashbangs, does find one into Bosco, finds another! Goddess with a 2v1 right now, brings up the pistol, but no, gets shut down, and Space Station will take the series 2-0.
Well, SSG, they will join Liquid and MIBR. They will head to the finals in December, but we were really expecting a better showing. There's no way this should have been the semi-finals. A 7-1, 7-2 by SSG, showing why they were the favorites in this competition for their region. And they will just push on, James. And there's not much we can say apart from well done, SSG.
Well, we're going to have Luminosity Gaming versus Evil Geniuses as our second semi-final of the night. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Predict the outcome, win the game. Get live coverage and schedules for your favorite tournaments. Analyze, predict, and vote to gain points. Compete with other esports fans and climb the leaderboards. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.